Good evening, Chris. Thank you, my friend. Much appreciated. And thanks to you at home for joining us this hour. Very happy to have you here. The capital of Vermont is the beautiful city of Montpelier. This was yesterday at the state capitol in Montpelier. Protesters outside rallying on the steps of the state capitol. They also marched outside. They ended up protesting inside, including with some state legislators among them, all to show support for Mohsen Maddow, a Vermonter and one of the international students, also a legal permanent resident, who Donald Trump has arrested, even though he's not accused of any crime. This was yesterday at the state capitol in Montpelier. This was early this morning in Burlington, Vermont. People turning out about an hour away from Montpelier in Burlington, because Burlington is where the federal courthouse is. And they turned out there early this morning. After rallying at the State House yesterday, they turned out there early this morning while a federal judge held a hearing on Mr. Maddow's case. And at that hearing, the judge ruled that Mohsen Maddow cannot be moved out of Vermont. The Trump administration cannot move him to some immigration prison in Louisiana or somewhere else all the way across the country. The judge says he needs to stay where he is. His lawyers say they are going to be back before this same judge next week, and they will be seeking Mr. Maddow's immediate release. Today, two of the law firms that are fighting in court against Trump's efforts to target them had federal court hearings. The judges in both of those hearings appeared to favor the arguments from the law firms against the Trump administration, as they have in every hearing thus far involving these cases. But I will tell you, there was a little bit of a logistical complication in trying to get that reporting from those two court hearings today, because in both of those court hearings today, the courtrooms were packed to the rafters, every seat full and then some, which made it hard for some reporters to get in. Stakes are very high. People want to be there to witness it. People are showing up. Last night, Mr. car company Tesla held its earnings call to discuss that company's catastrophic decline in fortune this year. Folks in Seattle held a party at a local bar to listen to the sound of the call and to cheer their guts out when Elon Musk announced that he would be scaling back his time in Washington to instead try to salvage his flailing company. People all over the country, including in Seattle, have made this strategic decision to protest Tesla, to protest Elon Musk's role in the destruction of the federal government by focusing on that company, which of course is the source of his wealth and therefore his power. The company's nosedive, which was announced and conceded formally by the company in that call last night, the company nosediving has been the whole point of those protests, which have succeeded in their aim. And the damage to Tesla may very well be irrevocable, but so is much of the damage that Elon Musk and Donald Trump have done together in Washington. The only thing successful here is the focus on Tesla strategy, which has apparently succeeded in pushing Elon Musk out of the bizarre, unprecedented, unelected government role he took in Washington after paying for Donald Trump's presidential campaign. It worked. Pushback doesn't always work, but not pushing back never works. And sometimes when you do push back, you win. So this is my last week of doing this show 5 nights a week. I said around inauguration time that I would be here for the first 100 days of Trump's term in office. That 100 days is up a week from tonight. And so a week from tonight will be my last night of this 5-day-a-week thing. I will stop doing 5 nights a week. Next week, I will go back to just doing Mondays. I'm not going away. I'm going to be here every Monday. And the great Jen Psaki is going to be here at 9 o'clock Eastern time, Tuesday to Friday. You're going to love it. Don't worry. It's all going to be fine. But as we get to this benchmark, which is going to be a transition for me, I've been thinking about what we've been through this past 90 plus days as we're heading toward the 100-day benchmark. And I realized that at least the way that I have come to understand what we're going through, it's got kind of, I guess it's got like 3 sides to it. I mean, yes, this is a story of Trump's extremism, right? We really are, without a doubt, going through a kind of attempted authoritarian takeover of our country. And that has included destroying as much of the government as possible and using the government in every way they can to try to hurt people in the country who the president wants targeted. They are having government attempted takeovers of huge swaths of civil society, including the legal profession and education and even like museums. They are banning books. They are policing what words people are allowed to use in bizarre and authoritarian ways. They are using terror tactics and secret police tactics against people they are targeting, including secret detention and sending people to foreign gulags. They are reversing our alliances with the countries of the free world and aligning us with the dictatorships instead. They have freaking redecorated the White House with cheesy looking gold gewgaws, so it looks like a cheap budget hotel version of the Kremlin. I mean, like, we are there. The authoritarian project is definitely here. It is what we are up against. Everybody who warned against that before the election was correct, no question. That's part of it. Right. The second part of what we're going through is the country loudly and roundly saying no to that. People protesting against him in every single state in the country, in blue states, in red states, in big cities, in small towns, in Washington, and everywhere else. I mean, every single freaking day. This was yesterday in Detroit and yesterday in San Diego. People protesting, saying, hands off the EPA. This was Tyler, Texas yesterday. People absolutely reaming out their Republican Congressman Nathaniel Moran at a town hall in his district in Tyler, Texas. This was North Carolina earlier this week. People in Republican Congressman Ted Budd's district holding an empty chair town hall there for him, to which he refused to show up. They packed the house anyway without him. This is Pomona, California yesterday. People turned out to protest at a Home Depot parking lot after Trump's immigration agents came there earlier that day and arrested people from that parking lot. The community turned out in response. This was 40 minutes away in Anaheim, outside the offices of Republican Congressman Young Kim. People protesting against the Trumpcades to Medicaid, which will be absolutely devastating in Kim's district and in most places around the country. And everywhere, this just, like snapshot. Headlines today. Everywhere, every state, people turning out and saying no every way they can. That has been part of the story, too, and one that we've tried to keep in focus here on this show. But I said there's kind of, I think, three parts to this story. It's Trump's extremism, people saying no. But there then is this third thing, which has been the undercurrent to all of it. And to me, I think it is the real lesson of the first 100 days. I mean, I know the first 100 days is like an artificial benchmark, but it's a benchmark that we are using. And if there is something to learn about what Trump in power is gonna be like, I think the first 100 days have given us one very clear lesson, right? We know he's trying for the whole dictator thing, no elections, no courts, no resistance, rule by terror, right? We know that. We know the people of this country aren't having it. But I think what we should also know, what we have just lived through in this first 90 plus days thus far, is him screwing up. It's him absolutely blowing it. I mean, it is one thing to understand the gravity of his intentions, but I think it is equally important to recognize that he's really bad at everything he tries to do. I don't know if he's bad at good stuff he tries to do, because he's not trying to do much that seems good. But the bad stuff he's trying to do, he's been real bad at that. I mean, it hasn't been funny exactly, it's too disgusting for that, but it has been the proverbial comedy of errors. Let me show you what I mean. Do you remember the first big surprise destroy the government thing that he did right after the inauguration? He sent out a White House memo ordering the freezing of all federal funding, all federal grants. And then less than 48 hours, oops, had to take that back. Headline, Trump White House rescinds memo freezing federal grants after widespread confusion and legal challenges. Quote, President Donald Trump's budget office on Wednesday rescinded a memo freezing spending on federal grants less than 2 days after it sparked widespread confusion and legal challenges across the country. A Monday evening memo from the White House Office of Management and Budget sparked uncertainty and left the White House scrambling to explain what would and wouldn't be subject to a pause in funding. So it was kind of the first big thing he did, and then they immediately had to take that back. Did we say freeze federal funding? We didn't. We're just gonna, that's rescinded. We'll try that again. Right out of the gate. And then Right on the heels of that, you remember this one? When they accidentally put somebody in charge of the FBI who they didn't mean to? Quote, White House officials goofed on the White House website. You don't see the word goofed in the Wall Street Journal all that often. White House officials goofed on the White House website and listed the wrong man in charge of the FBI, people familiar with the matter said. Instead of correcting the error, White House officials let it stand. And the two men traded temporary titles at the FBI. So they, accidentally put the wrong person as the acting head of the FBI. Mixed up the names. We didn't mean to put you in there. Oh well, who cares? We'll just let the other guy we didn't mean to put in charge of the FBI be in charge of the FBI. What could possibly go wrong? Immediately after that, turns out they accidentally put the names of hundreds of CIA officers in an unclassified email and sent it to the White House, where things like that just kind of happen now. That same day, we learned that Trump has accidentally made it impossible for the Postal Service to accept mail from China. Trump made an announcement about shipping things from China. He had no idea, apparently, what the implications of that announcement would be. And then the post office announced, based on what you said, sir, this means America can no longer receive mail from China. And, well, I'm not exactly sure what he did mean, but that wasn't what he meant. So, that had to be reversed, too. By then, the president's top campaign donor was working his bizarre magic in Washington, so we got the accidental firing of the National Nuclear Security Agency, which handles the safe transportation, storage, assembly, and dismantling of our nation's nuclear weapons. We didn't mean to do that. Trump administration fires and then tries to rehire nuclear weapons workers in DOGE reversal. Then this was the very next day. Headline, New York Times. DOGE claimed it saved $8 billion in one contract. It was actually $8 million. So that's cool. They were off by roughly 100,000%. But, don't forget, these are the smart guys, the smart kids. Next day, headline, Agriculture Department tries to rehire fired workers tied to bird flu response. We accidentally fired all the bird flu people in the middle of the bird flu. Can we get them back? No, we can't. That same day, headline, Trump administration reverses plan to end free COVID test program. The taxpayers bought all these COVID tests, perfectly good COVID tests. There's still COVID. People are still testing for COVID to see if they have COVID. But because the Trump administration doesn't like COVID, they're going to what? Incinerate millions of tests, of perfectly good tests? So Americans instead have to buy more of them by paying for themselves instead of getting the free ones the government already bought to hand out? Seriously? No, not seriously. Reverse that one too. This was also that same day. This is a big day in Oopsville. Headline, Trump administration reverses its previous decision and reinstates legal aid for migrant children. Yeah, it turns out babies don't make great lawyers. Doesn't work out great to have literally babies and toddlers appearing in court alone with a judge asking them questions. I said, all rise, baby. Are you able to stand on your own? Oh, actually, sorry. Yeah, they reversed that too. They have since tried again to take away the lawyers for babies and little kids in court after this initial reversal. So this one actually remains a live issue. I don't know if that's better. 2 days later, we accidentally cut the program that helps the 9/11 first responders. Did we mean to do that? I think we did mean to do that, but we certainly can't defend it now that people are asking us to defend it. So that one gets reversed too. Then Trump's top campaign donor, Elon Musk, tries on the federal government the same thing he did to destroy the company Twitter. He sends out the "What did you do last week?" email, insisting that anybody who doesn't immediately respond to that email will instantly be fired from the federal government, no exceptions. Really? Seriously? No, not really, and definitely not seriously. Headline, federal agencies can ignore "What did you do last week?" email, Trump administration says. Then this is the following day. We get news from the VA, where Trump has cut things like, little liberal woke programs like cancer treatment and support for veterans with cancer, and burial services for veterans. Trump cut burial services for veterans? Really? Yeah, for a hot minute, until people freaked out, and so yeah, he reversed that too. I mean, are you kidding me? He was not kidding. Next, headline, VA contract cancellations halted in major reversal. Maybe at this point, they're getting a little shy about screwing up so much, about having to take back and try to undo all these things that they're messing up. No, they're just getting warmed up. The very next day after taking back the veterans' burials that Trump cut, we get this, headline, Elon Musk admits Doge accidentally eliminated prevention measures combating Ebola virus. Oops. The next day, headline, Trump administration reverses course after putting Veterans Crisis Line hires on hold. Quote, due to an administrative error, job offers for some Veterans Crisis Line positions that were scheduled to be filled later this month were mistakenly rescinded. This issue has been addressed, and VA is in the process of reissuing these offers. Due to an administrative error. What kind of administrative error has you accidentally cutting the suicide hotline? That same week, headline, struggling with errors, Doge deletes billions more from list of savings. Quote, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has deleted hundreds more claims from its mistake-plagued wall of receipts. Late Sunday night, the group erased or altered more than 1,000 contracts it had claimed to cancel, representing more than 40% of all the contracts listed on its site last week. And this was the next day. Headline, Trump abruptly walks back his directive to fire thousands of federal employees. Quote, in revised guidance issued to the heads of federal agencies, the Office of Personnel Management tries to rewrite history by claiming it never actually ordered agencies to fire those employees. Let's pretend we didn't do that one. And then this was the next day. Oh, this was a great one. Quote, at 2 p.m. Tuesday, the Trump administration posted a list of 443 properties for sale, an inventory that ranged from an El Paso toll booth to the FDA's research campus in Silver Spring, Maryland. In the next 5 hours, more than 100 properties were removed from the catalog, including the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the headquarters of the Department of Health and Human Services, the headquarters of the Department of Justice, the headquarters of the Department of Labor, and the headquarters of Veterans Affairs. By Wednesday morning, the entire list had been removed. So yes, Trump did announce that he was selling hundreds of federal buildings, including, I don't know, the headquarters of the Justice Department, but did he mean that? We're not even sure if we know. Oops. They just put them all up for sale and then took them all down and didn't answer any questions about what had happened there. Pretend that didn't happen. And this was the very next day. Headline, in dizzying reversal, Trump pauses tariffs on some Mexican and Canadian products. A few days later, headline, Trump administration scraps far-reaching cuts to Social Security phone services after Washington Post report. Oh, this was genius. Quote, the Social Security, this is amazing. The Social Security numbers and other private information of more than 400 former congressional staffers and others, including President Trump's own lawyer, were made public Tuesday in the unredacted files related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy that President Trump ordered released. After the Post reported the disclosure on Wednesday, the White House rushed to mitigate the impact. The National Archives then started screening the documents for Social Security numbers after they had already been publicly released. National Archives started screening the documents for Social Security numbers after the fact so that the Social Security Administration could identify living individuals and issue them new Social Security numbers. Oops. Oops. We accidentally very thoroughly doxed hundreds of people, including the president's own lawyer publishing like their names, their place of birth, their full birth dates, and their full unredacted Social Security numbers. Hundreds of them. Oops. Then the following week, we get, oh, this is a real oops. Jeffrey Goldberg, editor of The Atlantic magazine, headline, the Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans. Then this one, headline, Trump administration admits Maryland man sent to El Salvador prison by mistake. 2 days later, headline, Trump's tariffs hit remote islands. One is home to mainly penguins. The next day, headline, will make mistakes, says RFK Jr. as fired U.S. health staff asked to return. 3 days later, headline, economists reveal major math blunder in Donald Trump's tariff formula, which inflates the impact by 400% and could spark global trade chaos. The next day, headline, National Park Service restores Underground Railroad webpage. Oops. Oops. Have we messed that up? Will you guys please pretend that that was a mistake and not something we totally did on purpose, but then we couldn't defend it once we did it, and so we just quietly undid it while hoping you wouldn't notice? Can we leave it like that? Same day, headline, Doge cuts at a Florida manatee refuge have been reversed. Same day, headline, Trump administration says it cut funding to some life-saving UN food programs by mistake. Oops. The next day, headline, Trump announces sudden reversal on tariffs. This past Friday night, New York Times headline, Trump officials blame mistake for setting off confrontation with Harvard. Quote, the April 11th letter from the White House to Harvard should not have been sent and was, quote, unauthorized. And it hasn't even slowed down. I mean, just this week, headline, Trump administration reverses course, restores funding for critical weather data centers. Headline, Elon Musk's hand-picked IRS chief lasts just 72 hours. The story of this first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency is sometimes a very scary movie because of what he really does seem to be trying to do and what he has already done to some people and some parts of our government and some elements of our country. Sometimes it is a very scary movie. It is sometimes also an action movie with people all over the country springing into action and standing up to stop him from doing those things as best they can. But the one thing it has consistently also been from the moment he got back to Washington is an unfunny farce, a slapstick mess of reversals and mistakes and oops, let's pretend we didn't do that and let's try to undo it and let's hope no one notices just how dumb it was when we really did do it and we can't even really defend it, so oops. I mean, the one word that most sums up Donald Trump's term in office thus far, heading to 100 days in, the one word that best sums it up is oops. Just because they're trying to do really, really bad things doesn't change the fact that they're also just really bad at everything they try to do. Which for this country is definitely a curse, but also in some ways a blessing. We're heading towards 100 days. There's going to be a lot of look backs at what Trump has done. Whatever you hear, what anybody says, don't let anybody tell you this time around that they are competent.